G'day folks, Ben from Stowies here today showing you this Coleman Peak 1 2-burner camp stove.
Hit it.
This stove offers 10,000 BTU per burner, even heat distribution with awesome temperature adjustability, all in a low profile sleek design. Before we dive in, we've got loads more content like this on our channel, so make sure you like and subscribe below. Now let's jump into the product. So this is how the Coleman Peak 1 stove looks packed away in its carry case, kind of futuristic foam sort of material carry case, pretty cool. Weighs all up just over 7 kilos with the stove and everything included. The stove itself weighs about 5.5 kilos and it measures 51 centimeters by about 40 centimeters in height or this distance here, and then 12 centimeters in height, sort of at this highest bit, but obviously it tapers right down. Now the bag, it doesn't sort of stand up in the bag, so wherever you put it, if you're standing it this way in your car, it's going to have to lean against something. It doesn't stand up, so it will sit down like that, but to open the product up, you actually put the logo downwards, this little V on the top, and we can open it up from there. We can see we've got these are actually just molded over the top of the knobs on the stove. So there's 2 zipper pulls on here, easy to open, so we'll slide that open there and unfold it. And we see we've got the stove inside and the hose here. Now when you buy it, this hose is actually packed separately. It doesn't fit neatly in here, but I recommend if you want to store it in there, if you're going to take the hose with you, then just put it to the back of the cover here and then close it to make sure that the hose sticks within the edges of this, because the tolerance of this come in exactly on the edge of this. So your hose, when it's packed away, needs to sit in this area here. Now this is a hose that allows you to use the gas bottle, like a 4 kilo gas bottle. It also runs on propane bottles. We'll go into a bit more on that shortly, but a little more on what comes with the stove first. So you get obviously the stove. This is the stove all in one here. These may not come attached when you first buy it. I'll show you how they attach shortly. You also get a user manual, and then tucked in this little pouch at the back here is the regulator, which you always need to use with the stove. So this will always need to be packed away with the stove. So I'll put the user manual and the carry bag aside for now, and we'll go into the details of the stove. So as I mentioned, about 7.5 kilos, and the stove itself measures about 49.5 centimeters in length here, about 32.6 centimeters in depth, and about 8.9 centimeters in height. That's to the top of the burner or the hot plate griddle holder here. Now construction is a combination of steel and cast iron. If we start on the bottom, we'll show you've got steel panels underneath here. There's a plastic insert here where the handle is. You've got that fixed handle on the top there. Not much to see on the back, but you've got this vent around the side here to allow oxygen in around where the flame is. And then this feels like cast iron over the top here. So it's quite a durable or sturdy feeling stove. You've then got cast iron pot supports here, and then chrome plated steel around here. The burners inside are what they call it a steps design. It's kind of in line with their hyperflame stoves that they've used. And this combined with this make for good wind protection without the need for a wind shield. And I've got a little fan that I'll blow over this shortly to show you that. And then on the front, you've got these nice durable feeling flame control knobs, and then the piezo ignition on the side here, which once again, we'll go into very shortly. Now to set the stove up, we can use 2 different gas bottles. So we've got the portable propane canister, which makes for a really compact way to transport your stove. And you can also attach it to gas bottles with a 3/8 BSP fitting on top like this. If you want to use a gas bottle like this, you use the stove, the hose. So whichever one you use, you always need to attach this regulator. Now this regulator goes inside the stove here. I'll just spin this around to show you where the little port is that this attaches. So we take the small end of this, push it onto this attachment here, and then screw the sleeve over the top to secure it in place. It'll be easy if I put that down. Now this always has to be on the stove. This provides a regulated gas supply into the stove, so no matter which gas bottle you're attaching it to, this always needs to be part of the system. I'm going to run it off this today, but I want to demonstrate to you how you can attach this first with this hose here. So this has got 2 different fittings. The small fitting is the 3/8 BSP fitting that will fit on top of the gas bottle here. And then this BOM fitting will screw into the regulator here. So this is where if you're doing away with the portable gas cylinder, you still need to attach the hose to the regulator. So this is how it would look if you were using a large LPG bottle like this. For the purposes of today, I'm going to put this aside and I'm going to set it up with this portable propane canister like this one here. Now first I'm going to make sure the gas is turned off so we don't get any leakage. This then just screws in to the bottom of the regulator here. Now you can buy these propane canisters in various brands. This is a Coleman brand, this one here, but other brands do them as well. So tighten this up just firmly, don't over tighten it. You just want it done up firmly, and then that just sits there loosely like that. Now ideally what you'd want to do now is use a spray bottle, check for leaks, make sure there's no leaks or anything. You never want to use these canisters inverted like this. It needs to sit like this next to the stove. So I've just come around to the front of the stove now to light it up, and I want to do a bit of a demo on how well these sort of work to protect the flame from the wind as well. So to light it up firstly, the flame control knob, we want to turn this probably about a full 360 degrees before you can start to hear the gas hissing out of here, and then be ready on the piezo ignition here to turn that around, and that will light the flame. So I'll turn that. Gas is hissing, flick that once, and that's lit on that side there. If I then want to light the second side, same thing, about 360 degree turn till that hisses, and flick it, and there we go. So it is about a 360 degree turn on each of these before the gas starts to flow, and then this lights it really easily. So got two 10,000 BTU burners there, so 20,000 BTU total. I turn them right up on full. It's actually surprisingly quiet, this stove here. So they're on full now. I don't know if you can hear that noise there. It's a quiet hiss. A lot of gas stoves are really noisy. That's a quiet hiss. So probably one of the quietest camp stoves that I think I've heard. In terms of how hot they are, 10,000 BTU is plenty warm enough for most camp cooking, but I can put my hands here and I wouldn't want to hold it there for long. That feels pretty warm pretty quickly, and that's with them on full bore. Nice even flame coming out of there. It looks pretty good. Looks like they'd cook your sausages pretty quickly. Now I'm going to turn this side off. I want to demonstrate how well this works just as wind protection without the need for a windshield over the back. So I'll turn this down low to the sort of point where it's most likely to be impacted by winds. Now this burner design, if we have a look on this side here, you see it's got this step design. So there's holes around the side and then it steps down in the middle. That sits right down low on the stove here, and then you've got this around the side here as well, which allows a bit of airflow and a bit of wind protection. So it's all designed to kind of work together to protect it from the wind. Now, this is probably a good opportunity to show you here how the wind protection works. We've got a little fan because that's actually getting quite red hot there now. This is just a little battery operated fan. I'm going to turn that on and blow that in there. So putting that right up close. You can certainly hear the flame hissing. It hasn't, I mean, there is wind. I'm having to hold this up to blow down into the actual burner there. If I do it straight across, I can still feel heat above the flame there. So that's pretty good wind protection without the need for a windshield around the sides. So I would say if you're in a reasonably protected space, this doesn't need windshields, but if you're in a really windy space, you don't need it, but it would benefit from it. You'd need a windshield that was about 50 centimeters across the back here, and it comes to about 20 centimeters where this comes out. Now you can't operate it without this, so the windshield is going to have to sit in here up to about 20 centimeters. So would benefit from a windshield, but not entirely necessary. Now I've got a 3-burner cast iron hot plate here that does fit quite neatly on top of the stove there. Now just be wary that when you do this, you are trapping heat underneath. So you want to make sure that you haven't got a windshield that goes around the gas bottle here as well. The gas bottle is well clear of the heat, and you probably don't want it on full bore when you've got this sort of contained on top. But a 3-burner hot plate does fit neatly on top of there. Now, in terms of cleaning, as I mentioned before, these potentially, I can't remember if these came assembled when you buy the stove or not, but these actually just pull off. They just clip in on the sides here, and they pull off like that. It's just a little rounded metal clip that fits into a clip in there. Easy to clean that then. These don't come apart, or I guess you could if you wanted, but there's no reason to pull that apart, but then that makes that nice and easy to clean. Now, the benefit of having a hot plate like this without the windshields around the side means you can fit pretty large pots on it because you're not restricted by these windshields around the edge there. So I've got a couple of fry pans here. This is a 28 centimeter fry pan, and this one is, well, about the same. So they're both about 28 centimeter fry pans. Now these fit reasonably comfy on here. They're probably slightly off center. This one here is centered on the burner there. This one sits slightly off to the side. So you can slide them across, so that would still be quite a functional cooking space. It's only slightly off center on each of those pots there. So that's probably a worst case scenario. They're two very big pots, but you could certainly use one 28 centimeter fry pan and say a billy on this side here. So That's the benefit of having a cooker like this without those windshields on the side. If you do decide to add a windshield to your cooker, and I talked about that 50 centimeter width here, you probably do need to allow a little bit of extra if you want to use larger pots like this to allow for that to stick out over the sides. That is the Coleman Peak 1 2-burner camping stove. A really sturdy, durable, and well put together stove that gives you lots of cooking options. Easy to set up, easy to pack away. To pack away, don't need to do anything here other than remove the regulator, put it back inside the bag here. It's protected inside this bag, inside your car or your ute, wherever you store it, because this is about a 1/2 inch thick EVA foam all around here. So well protected, well thought out. I reckon this is an awesome option for anyone's camping setup. If you've got any questions on this, let us know down in the comments below. Otherwise, you can check out all the details on these online at snowies.com.au, where you find them at our lowest prices every day.